What do you think of all the violence in Egypt this week?
I think it's really going haywire in Egypt because I think because of the prime minister over there.
Whoops. Start over. We had the wrong mic thing showing.
Okay.
What do you think of the violence in Cairo, Egypt this year?
I think the problem in Cairo, Egypt is because of the prime minister that goes over in Egypt and the peace treaty agreement. I think they're not coming to an agreement. They have breached their contract, and they need to reform another peace treaty to bring the economy of their economy and their economically back together again.
How do you think the people and the government can work together in Egypt?
How they can work together is when they vote. They should vote on one accord. What they need. They need to vote to. The people need to go out and vote in Cairo because that is the capital of Egypt over there, where they do all the peace treaty and agreements at. And they need to vote and let their voice be heard.
Now, do you think this is a good time to invest in Egypt?
Yes, it is. Anytime is a good time. When it's on the downside, you still can invest because it broadens the economy to come back up again.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the viewers? Guess not. So in closing, this is Death and Taxes talking to you.
You too.
Yes.
So this is Death and Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. And we're talking to folks about all the goings on in Egypt. How can people and the government work together in Egypt?
I guess building a more democratic system where people vote and are able to cast their opinions out. I think right now they're having change-ups with leaders and nobody's voice is getting heard, so making it more democratic.
And is now a good time to invest in Egypt?
No, I don't think so. I think if you're in Egypt, yeah, they would probably say that, but I think, like many of the economies in the world, like Greece and Spain, they're falling apart, and I guess if you are really liberal and you want to help them, yeah, invest in it, but it's kind of like a slippery slope right now.
Okay, so this is yours. Do an intro and do, what do you think of all the violence?
What am I doing now?
The first question, what do you think of all the violence?
Can you see it?
Got it? What do you think of all the violence in... It's cold out here.
It is getting cold now.
That?
No. This is another person.
Okay, what do you think about...
Keep that for.
What do you think about the violence in Egypt?
What do I think about the violence in Egypt? I think it's very sad that people are out there dying and people are out there setting fires over something that's so, like when we have an election in the United States, it's so seamlessly just like things go on as normal, but when they have an election or a change in presidency in Egypt, people riot and there's death and there's violence. So that's horrible. It's very sad.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the viewers?
I'd still like to go to Egypt for a vacation. Looks like a cool place to be.
So in closing, this is Death and Taxes talking to you. This is Death and Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. How can the people of Egypt, how can the people and the government work together?
I don't think they're going to be able to work together until they form a new government. The people are just revolting from years and years and years of oppression, and they're finally standing up for themselves.
Okay, and is now a good time to invest in Egypt?
No, it's not. Maybe I think that anybody who would invest any kind of money, the money would be corrupted and the money would not be used, and you wouldn't make a profit.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the viewers?
Don't go to Egypt if you're an American. Not a good idea.
Now, we're going to edit it and he's going to do his.
Okay.
So what do you think of all the violence? And keep the Egypt forward.
What do you think of all the violence in Cairo, Egypt?
I'm not happy with it, but I'm not surprised about it. People can only take so much for so long. And I think it's going to continue until there's a new government, until things change.
I guess that's all.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my answer. I mean.
Okay, so let's do our...
All right.
So in closing, this is Death and Taxes talking to you.
And Spider-Man.
Okay, try my best here.
Okay, I'm going to do mine and then he'll do his. Now, this is Death and Taxes from the Predatory Lending Network talking to you. Now, recently there's been quite a bit of goings on in Egypt, so we're here with some folks today talking about that. We're going to cut, he's going to do his thing. How can the people of Egypt and the government work together?
They need to come to an understanding of what one side wants and what the other side wants. There's many different fashions there, many different peoples, many different type of Islams. It's not just one type of Islam. There's Shiites and there's Sunnis. And then there's the government, and even the government is separated. So until they all come together and understand what everybody wants and have a real good discussion, that's the most important thing, is getting them to talk instead of fighting and using the violence to get their point and their message across. Talk to them, find out what it is they want. And then come to compromises. Everybody needs to compromise on each side. There's going to have to be a give and take. Somehow you have to make them understand that.
Now, is now a good time to invest in Egypt?
Definitely. Always. That part of the country is very, very important to peace in the Middle East. If people see what Egypt is doing, the other countries will take follow and will suit. If it works there, it'll work somewhere else.
So in closing, is there any last minute things you'd like to say to the viewers?
Live in peace, love one another as you love yourself, always. Enjoy this planet.
So in closing, this is Death and Taxes talking to you. Okay, he's going to do it.
Okay for you guys.
Wait. You never did your question. Come on.
You asked my question.
You took his question.
No, I did. What do you think of all the violence in Egypt?
What do you think of all the violence in Egypt?
I think it's terrible. That's a country that's over 5,000 years old, a society that has existed almost since the beginning of time. And if anything, they should be showing the way. We should understand from them. They should be teaching us. But instead, it seems they became almost a third world country. There needs to be something done with it to get that part of the region in peace. Like I said earlier, if they follow Egypt, if Egypt shows it could be done, the other Middle Eastern states, OPEC nations will say it can be done also, and they'll follow.